boys?
In Dublin, people speak with so charming a lilt that call centres are deliberately placed there to take advantage of their soothing tones. It's where the British Psychological Society is holding its annual conference, and one of the studies on discussion was about accents and how others perceive those with regional twangs. They showed subjects pictures of women who all looked alike, and were asked to rate them for attractiveness and intelligence. Some they were shown in silence. Some with what they were told was a recording of the woman in the pictures. The accent that proved most popular, that made the women appear better looking and more intelligent, was a Yorkshire accent. Not Leeds, probably, but small town, last of the summer wine Yorkshire. A close second was received pronunciation, or old-style BBC newsreader. The third most popular accent was no sound at all. And last, by some margin, came Birmingham-ese. Women who don't speak were deemed more intelligent than those women who, when they opened their mouths, sounded like they came from Brum. The conclusion is that women, and therefore men, of Birmingham should do yourselves a favour and stop speaking. Of course, we get something out of it too, in that we don't have to hear you, but mostly it's for your own good. And while we're at it, ladies of Liverpool, you really shouldn't go out looking like that. The Daily Mail printed pictures of Scouse lasses on a day out at Aintree. Some of them looked like they'd come straight from signing on, and the whole thing resembled a Viz Comics fat slags convention. A riot of piercings and flab, all swathed in kitchen curtain material that looked like they got dressed in Oxfam during a power cut, and then accessorised at the pound shop. But not the footballers' wags. Those airbrushed twiglets who clung to each other for safety in numbers in case their wobblier neighbours mistook them for canapes. Pictured tucking into a hearty glass of water, all shiny and beige, it was hard to tell where they stopped and the curtains began. But in pictures they look great. In pictures, no one can hear you talk. I can remember being in New York when they had the poster for Alien. No one in space, no one can hear you scream. That was 1978. A complete guess. Did I get it right? 78, that would have put it a year after Star Trek. Because Star Trek was 77, and I know that to be true because it was the year that punk crystallised and really took off. For a brief second, like a match striking, it burst into flame and then was killed by big business, the man, who came in and took it over. But no, I think Star Wars was 77, so Aliens, well, that can't have been 78, can't have been the year after Star Wars, can it? So it must have been 82, the second time I went to New York. Biggest poster I've ever seen in my life. It was huge. In fact, the only poster I've seen that's bigger than that was in Thailand when I recently went there. Thailand, a place where most of the population live in corrugated tin shacks, by which I mean 4 pieces of corrugated iron lent up against each other with another piece for a roof, no kitchen, no bathroom, nothing. And the biggest poster I've ever seen in my life was for a high-definition television, straight out of the airport. They don't even have a wall to nail it on. Anyway, the bizarre things you see on your travels. But, yeah, I think Alien was 1982. Apropos of nothing at all, really. That's not going nowhere. I was just trying to work that out in my mind. Sometimes I forget I'm on the radio. It's 0845 6060 973. Speaking of airbrushes, by the way, they're trying to ban women, mostly women, airbrushed in magazines. Now, this came out a little while ago. Did you see this?
I can't say I did. Who's they, by the way?
Oh, you know, the evil dark forces that the Queen talked about.
Oh, them, okay.
Yeah. Magazines could be banned from using airbrushed photographs of celebrities that make them look slimmer over fears that they're promoting unrealistic body images. This just sounds like such a load of old nonsense to me. It's, they're just trying to make them look nice for the magazine. I mean, if, for instance, they had a photograph of me, if I ever became famous enough to have my photograph in a magazine, then I would be on my knees begging them to airbrush me.
So that photo of you on the LBC website, has that had any tweaks?
No, but I insisted that he take it from the next county.
Ah.
With a very long lens. Either that or use a screen made of linoleum in between me and the camera. It's that small, by the way, because no one on radio looks that great. You know, you go to our website, lbc.co.uk, and you try and... a tiny little picture of us, and you try and click on it, and it doesn't get bigger. It doesn't get bigger for a reason. We're on radio for a reason. That's why it stays that small. It's not by accident, it's by design. Anyway, they're trying to ban magazines using airbrush photographs. Have you ever heard of anything so silly? Why? Why are they trying to do that? Well, they're saying that... Oh, I'll read on. The move follows criticism by the Model Health Inquiry. What? Which accused editors of acting irresponsibly and promoting a size zero culture. Now, when you walk around the streets of London, do you notice that there is a size zero culture around? Really? Or do you notice that people are, these days, morphing into space hoppers?
In fairness, you wouldn't notice the smaller ones.
No, because of the... Well, you can't see them because of the...
They're two-dimensional.
Exactly. It's like looking for a pipe cleaner in one of those children's ball net thing. What do you call those things that kids play?
A ball pool.
A ball pool, yeah.
Which I can't say very well.
Yeah, ball pool. The report, released last September, urged the fashion industry to adopt a voluntary code on the use of computer technology to give models unrealistically perfect figures. Well, they're not unrealistically perfect figures, really, are they? Because if they were completely beyond the realms of possibility, they would look like aliens. So they just look fantastic, that's all. And by fantastic, we mean possible. So they're not unrealistically perfect figures, they're just better than the ones that they came into the studio with. Right? Or am I completely wrong here?
You're never wrong.
Stop saying that, because I'll start to believe it. I've got to be wrong about something. I've got to be wrong about most things most of the time. It's just that nobody ever tells me about it. Tell me about it. 0845 6060 973. I don't know why I bothered to give out the number. What's the point?
Now.
In December, the British Fashion Council wrote to editors and advertisers about the issue. The British Fashion Council. You'd think they'd be busy trying to promote designers and our collapsing British fashion industry. Anybody that actually makes a name in fashion in this industry, by the way, have you noticed, immediately goes abroad. There aren't any popular British designers with their own... Paul Smith is about the only one I could think of. And by his own admission, he's not a designer. He's I don't know what he is. He owns a shop. He doesn't actually design his stuff, does he? Paul Smith, his name's above the door. Mind you, Giorgio Armani doesn't design his pants. Nor, I would imagine, anything else that bears his name. That's what happens when you get, massively successful. You don't do the thing that made you massively successful anymore. Like architects, same thing. You go to one of these giant architecture firms with one of these guys who have been ennobled. They're not going to design your building for you. They'll give it to one of their, one of the plebs at the back while they sit there with their feet up smoking a cigar. Same with Giorgio Armani. You think he designs the cheap T-shirt or the smell that you bought to get a whiff of that, expensive name? Of course not. I bet he hasn't picked up a pencil in years. Maybe for the really expensive stuff. You want to spend 20 grand on a dress? You can get him in person. In December, the British Fashion Council wrote to editors and advertisers about the issue and asked them what could be done. The use... Oh, they were wringing their hands. Oh, what can be done? The use of digitally enhanced images of actresses such as Kate Winslet and Keira Knightley in magazines, or to promote films, has been criticised for its effect on women's body image. Which country are they speaking of? Not this country, surely. Keira Knightley was famously given a slightly larger breast because she didn't look that good in the sort of leather folderol that they gave her to wear. But then nobody would. So they gave her a little enhancement. Kate Winslet, they did almost the exact opposite. They just slimmed her down a bit. Now, they didn't make her look as though it's not possible for a human being to look like that. It just looked like she'd been, on a diet. Or exercising more. She put the cake fork down and stepped away from the fridge. Winslet, who has consistently defended fuller-figured women, appeared on the cover of GQ magazine in a picture that was airbrushed to make her appear slimmer. A sharp intake of breath all round. Knightley's bust was noticeably enhanced on the US posters for the film King Arthur. Didn't seem to do the movie any good, did it? I've never even heard of it. That came out in 2004. King Arthur. What was that? Nobody remembers. The PPA announcement, this, PPA... Must be somewhere in this article. Who are they then? PPA... Oh, the Periodical Publishers Association. Came on the same day as an expert in eating disorders claimed that society's obsession with being slim was encouraging diet binge cycles and bulimia. Society's obsession with being slim? There aren't any slim people anymore. Which country are these people looking at? The slim people in Zimbabwe, right enough, but, a loaf of bread costs 5 million groats, or whatever it is they use over there. There are no slim people in this country. Not one. Point to a slim person. There isn't any. Yeah, all right. One. Occasionally... Oh, OK. I'll finish the sentence that begins occasionally in just a moment. Now it's 7:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Make the M25 look slow heading clockwise from...
Occasionally... You'll see something that's so staggering you want to take a picture of it. I can remember being in an restaurant and a girl came in, I don't know what age she was, like mid-teens, something like that, with her mother. And she was busting out all over like a burst donut. It was horrible. But she was one of these girls who apparently doesn't possess a mirror. They were very posh. Mother was extremely well dressed. I think she was wearing fur. But the girl, on the other hand, this was in the middle of winter, thought that she was going out in, I don't know, Saint-Tropez, something like that, and she dressed accordingly, with a T-shirt that that wasn't even on friendly terms with the top of her trousers. Miles apart they were. And the bit in the middle, which I believe women call a muffin top. Now, I heard this phrase for such a long time before I actually understood what that meant. It's because when you put a muffin into its little little paper case, and you stick it in the oven, when it rises, it just oozes out over the top and sort of... It's a perfect description, isn't it? A muffin top. It just sort of bursts out over the top. And that's exactly what I was seeing. And, my fork froze halfway towards my mouth. I couldn't believe my eyes. So they sat down near us, the mother facing me and the girl with her back to me. And, of course, in that ensemble, when she sits down, much more becomes visible than was when she was standing. I haven't seen a gap that big since I was at the Grand Canyon. Fair put me off my rump steak. I wanted to take my phone out and take a picture of her and then show her what she looked like from behind, because she can have no idea. It was vile, in a rep where people were eating. But I didn't. Partly because I thought, well, why spoil somebody else's day? And partly because I've got no idea how to take a photograph on my mobile phone. It's something that I should learn. It does internet and video and email, and I've not done any of those things. All of those things that it does, all of these useful things that it comes with, no clue how to use it. Of course, in an emergency, when you need to take a photograph of your assailant, I'll be there flipping through the index of the telephone directory manual that it came with. Chiswick, hello, Julia.
Hello.
Julia.
Oh, I'm so glad that you were talking my favourite subject now.
What's that?
I have to agree with you 150%. Now, my hobby is people watching.
Right.
Okay? So, for instance, this afternoon, I was on the high road here in Chiswick, and I sat down, and I thought, well, I'll look at the people, see what's up.
Yeah.
Honestly, Nick, they were all overweight.
Everybody's fat now.
Now, me, I'm 5'3" and 6 stone. I'm tiny, okay?
Right.
But I've always been like that.
Yeah.
But I can't find anybody else who's at least even slim.
Now, what do you eat, Julia? Do you eat food that you cook from scratch?
Yes.
Right. See, now that's why you've always been like that. Whip it thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody does that anymore. Jamie Oliver is shortly going to start shouting at us from Channel 4 that we all must ditch our ready-made meals.
Oh, really?
Those are the things that are making us all fat. It's that nobody wants to cook anymore.
It's not that, though. People, they just eat all the time.
Yeah, grazing like cows.
They walk along the street eating.
They walk along the street eating. When they go to the cinema, they've got to have a bucket
Oh,
of...
God, it's disgusting. Yeah, I hate that. Well, the worst ever that I had an experience once in Mexico City. I went to a cinema. Do you know they were eating chicken, and they were eating through the bones. I couldn't hear the film.
They were eating the bones?
Yes.
Right.
So I was
Were these chicken
reading
dead
the
at the time?
subtitles. I don't know. It was disgusting.
They were eating chicken bones.
Yeah, they bit into the chicken, not just the skin, the bones,
too. Right.
Oh, and the noise was awful.
Ah, Mexican delicacy.
No, but I do agree with you. Nearly, and that is the worst thing. Those girls who walk along with their stomachs hanging out, and as you say, what do you call it?
They call it a muffin top.
Yeah, a muffin top. They all got horrible figures.
I don't know how they can leave the... I couldn't leave the house looking like that. I mean, it's because if a bloke did that...
Yeah.
But people would be... Well, they would just be aghast.
Actually, I have seen topless men walking on the street.
Well, that's kind of different. Topless is different to having your clothes not meet in the middle.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But you never see one who's beautiful.
Well,
they're always horrible.
Not since Britney Spears did first video. Dang, dang, dang.
Yeah,
that one.
I remember that.
Yeah. Not since then, no.
Yeah, well, I guess we're just going to get fatter and fatter and fatter.
fatter and fatter, and then we'll all explode.
I'm glad I won't be around to see this in 50 years.
It's
what's going on in this country.
When you think about what we are going to be like in 50 years, it's kind of...
frightening.
Yeah, that's the word I was going to use. Yeah, it's frightening.
Frightening, God.
We're all going to be fat and stupid, Julia.
Well, a lot of people are half of that already.
Yeah, well, some people have a head start. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
It was really nice talking to you.
And you, thanks,
Julia. I really
Julia.
enjoy the show every night.
All right, cheers, my dear.
Bye.
Ta-ra. It was a beautiful day today, a beautiful day for people watching. But, it is frightening when you think about what's going to happen in 50 years' time, because the explosion in waistlines has happened over the last... What, is it even 10 years? I mean, it could just be 5 years. It's happened so fast. I think we are now the second fattest nation on Earth. We're number 2. And you don't have to go very far to see that everyone's thin. France. I recently went to Paris. The only fat people in Paris are British tourists. I guarantee it. Everyone was thin. Everyone was stylishly dressed and in a hurry and nonchalant. They can actually be nonchalantly in a hurry in Paris. We could never manage that here. We'd be sweating and, our shirts would come untucked and we'd be dishevelled and awful. And the reason that they are thin and we're fat is that they don't eat ready-made meals. They cook. Or, more accurately, they don't eat, they smoke. As I was tucking into my full, I didn't actually call it English breakfast, but I suppose that's exactly what it was. Egg, bacon, toast, marmalade, orange juice, big bowl of coffee in the morning. Not a cup, mind, it was like a bowl. First time I saw it, I thought, I'm getting cereal. And then they put coffee in it. It's huge. And so I'm getting through this. It's like a 3-course meal. I'm having dinner for breakfast. French people, meanwhile, in the cafe around me, are having the world's most microscopic coffee. You have to virtually bring a microscope in to see it, and a fag for breakfast. Sets them up for the day. That and a shrug and a pfft. That's all they need to get going. Sheffield, hello, Jessica.
Hello, Nick.
Jessica.
I do love the French.
Yeah, gotta love the French.
Yeah, it goes against the grain, but, it's like you say that, it says it all, doesn't it, really? One kind of vowel manages to kind of convey a whole sentence.
Yeah. They can convey a whole sentence with one shrug of their shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about airbrushing.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of predominantly aimed at women because women buy magazines that are full of people that are airbrushed. But
it doesn't seem to be making any... If they are buying magazines and they're being affected by it, I don't see the results.
No, but that's the point. We're not being affected by it anymore. I think I have a sub to a magazine, and it's delivered every month.
Which one?
Well, I'm
Name
not
it.
going to say brilliant things about it, but it was Marie Claire.
Marie Claire, right. Got no idea what that's like. Is it 100 different ways to have a great sex life, that sort of thing?
Yeah, and look
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
And buy bags.
Buy bags, yeah.
And accessories.
Yes.
But I do keep getting that magazine, but every month when it comes, when I open it, it makes me feel like I should feel bad about myself. But
Don't feel bad about yourself, Jessica.
No,
we love you just the way you are. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you there because I took you just before the new news.
Oh.
Never mind. Thanks anyway.
Okay.
This is LBC 97.3.
Well, yeah, my life.
Find out the destination of the week, Sunday at 2, Simon Calder's Travel Clinic. Duke of Edinburgh is in hospital. The Duke of Edinburgh, right? Not Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Or as we used to call him in Edinburgh, the Chuki Embra. And his, the nice man on the news, Dickie Arbiter, right? Crazy name, very sensible guy. He said that the regulations in hospital won't keep him from doing his work. I didn't think he did work. I thought he was the Duke of Edinburgh. Work? What work? What work is that, then?
You know,
Yes?
the royal work. Like the royal we.
Well, what does he do?
He,
Yes?
he goes and visits people and
Oh, right.
makes them feel better about themselves.
No, he doesn't. He goes and visits people and insults them.
And that as well.
Yeah, the regulations in hospital won't keep him from doing his work or keep him from insulting the nurses. Tell me what work he does. Does anybody have any clue that the Duke of Edinburgh does for work? He just trails around his wife. Trails behind his wife. She's waving, and he's going...
He'd rather be indoors reading the paper, probably.
like that.
It's uncanny. It's like he's here.
I know, yeah. New Malden, hello, Tara.
Hello.
Tara.
Hello. Weight. I've been a size 10, since I was about 16, I suppose.
Right.
Now, I'm suddenly a size 8. My size hasn't changed. They just sort of downgraded, so anyone that's like a 10 or a 12 is a 14 or a 16. So they've made you feel good.
Really?
Yeah, the feel factor good of changing the sizes, because I've got size 10 clothes and 8s are the same.
Yeah.
And
That's interesting. It's like an arms race between manufacturers, because I bet one of them thought, hey, you know what? People don't like, because people will go in and they'll try on the size that they think they are, and if it doesn't fit, they're blowed if they're going to buy a bigger size, because that will make them feel fat.
Exactly.
They won't buy something that fits, because that will make them feel bad about themselves. So they'll just leave. So, go on, sorry.
Now, it used to be 10, 12, 14 and 16, and when you hit 16, you were worried about... You're not worried, but you knew you were overweight. But now, it's 20, 24...
What happens if you're an odd number?
Well, you just have to sort of go between sizes,
Right.
I suppose. But it's just ridiculous. It's people they're just pretending that, you know, they're a size they're not.
So that they can keep on eating and think that they're still svelte. Yeah.
There's certain areas in Surrey that you just wouldn't believe the size of the young girls. I can actually go into a shop and buy a kid's age 12 to 13.
Really?
Yeah, it's good because, you know, it's cheap.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. They come without VAT, right? Yeah. You want to eat something, Tara. You're wasting away.
I'm not. I'm a normal size for and I haven't changed. I'm just a normal size.
Right.
So it's really sad to watch these people making themselves very ill.
Right. Okay. Well, that's quite interesting. So the manufacturers are actually colluding with us in encouraging us to get fatter by making us believe that we're not.
Well, when I spoke to your producer, she actually said the same thing.
As you?
Yes.
Right.
When I mentioned it, she said, oh, yes, they've got bigger, haven't they?
Right. Okay. Thanks, Tara.
Okay, bye.
That was a spy report from inside the fashion industry. Well, I mean, I know it too. You go to a clothes shop, and it depends on who you shop with as to how big you are. Like, most places, I'm a 32-inch waist. Some places, I'm a 34. Like, some I'm a 36. And occasionally I'm a 30. So you really don't know where you are. I mean, do they not have measuring sticks?
Some shops make you feel really good about yourself, and some shops really don't.
Yeah. And some clothes, some trousers, don't come with a place to put your bottom. They come so stick thin, people with legs and bottoms need not apply. It's ludicrous. Especially if you have, a giant posterior like me. Huge and comfortable, actually. I'm breaking it in. Let's have Hampton. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick.
Jan.
Nick, this isn't something you've been discussing, but it took me out of my lethargy for a minute or two today. There was a report from a group of American scientists saying that drinking buckets of water does you no good at all, doesn't make any difference.
No.
And this caused quite a stir on the TV and the radio this morning, and it struck me that a similar report, in fact an almost identical report, came out about 6 or 7 years ago from a couple of British surgeons, saying that, 4 or 5 cups of tea a day is quite enough, and it doesn't really matter whether it's tea or water. That was enough. Flushing out your system doesn't affect anything. It doesn't detoxify the body, and it certainly doesn't do much for your health. So what's puzzling me is that when the British guys came out with this report, it made no impact at all.
Right.
It just, lead balloon, no impact whatsoever. But if a group of Japanese or American or German academics come out with a report, we seem to have a sort of Pavlovian reaction, and we're all agog, and we've got to take this seriously as a reaction. Why is that? Why is it that there's this kind of dichotomy that, the English academics don't have any currency at all with the media, but it's rather like bad news, If they haven't got enough bad news to put in the press, then good news from abroad is the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, in Scotland, they don't pay anything for their prescriptions.
Yeah.
And their school fees have been written off. And that sort of translates into more bad news for us. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you did a little swerve at the end there, but let's go back to what you were talking about just before.
I did a bit. I'm sorry about that.
It might be that we don't respect knowledge and intelligence in this country. I mean, when I was at school, it was fairly bad. I mean, you didn't want to appear to be keen, and anybody that knew anything about science could expect to get picked on at break. And I'm sure that hasn't got better, it's got worse. So it's almost as though that we treat our scientists as crazy boffins. And that's indeed how television has portrayed them. You remember Dr. Magnus Pike, I mean, the guy who stares at stars. I mean, they all look certifiable, don't they? They're all like crazy, mad scientists, really. So we don't respect our own.
Well,
it's only for somebody with a foreign accent says it. Oh, well, maybe there's something in that.
Preferably an Austrian accent, a bit like Freud. But I think that's right. But the report that these guys brought out 6 or 7 years ago really was very sensible indeed, it struck me, because it actually pointed out the dangers of drinking too much water.
Well, you can actually die from drinking too much water, that's right.
That's right. We had an actor collapse on stage almost, on cue 2 weeks later and was carted off to hospital.
But you have to drink an enormous amount of water.
Well, 4 litres, I think he got through in the course of a morning, which did it for him. But even so, even if you're less than 4 litres and you're sort of plugging along on 2 litres, there's a danger that you can dilute your own electrolytes, and so the system.
Damage your what?
You dilute the body's electrolytes.
What's that then?
Don't ask those kind of questions. Quite to answer.
Carry on, Jan. You're making perfect sense. Your electrolytes, yes.
But yes, it affects the brain and things like that.
Your electrical lights, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Where there are electrical elections as well.
Apparently, it was because of a misperception of a study that was conducted in 1945 when Americans came up with this figure that you need like 8-ounce glasses of water.
Yeah.
What was missed was, what they were actually saying was water which can come in any form, tea, coffee, beer, or anything like that.
Absolutely right.
And so we thought, oh, water, okay, now you have to... And then this is relatively recently, and the study, I do remember the study that you were talking about, the one that we ignored.
Yeah.
And then just very recently, I think it was the government was started, because they hadn't wagged their finger in our face for a couple of hours, so they thought, oh, blimey, well, search around my desk, what can we do now? Water, that's it. We must tell them to drink more water. Yeah. And we were instructed to go out and do just that, weren't we?
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing that struck me recently was that, bumbling through my local supermarket, is that expensive as petrol is, in small containers, water is even more expensive.
Yeah, I know. You're absolutely right there. People do whine and complain about the price of petrol, and I am among those. However, when you consider what they have to do to get petrol to the pump...
And 90% of it's tax anyway.
Yeah, they're giving it away.
Absolutely right. Water comes out of a hole in the ground, they stick it in a bottle, and they charge the earth for it.
That's right.
The
whole world's gone crazy.
I think that's the point I've been driving towards, making my own bumbling sort of...
Well, I think you did very well. Thanks very much, Jan.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Right.
0845 6060 973. That's absolutely right. And I've been doing that my whole life, drinking tons and tons of water. And I think the result is that I'm always thirsty. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that if you think that you need a lot of water and you start drinking a lot of it, then if you don't have water all the time... Because I was carrying water around way before it became fashionable to do so. And people were like, what's with why are you always thirsty? But I just always was. Because you drink a lot of water, you find that you need a lot of water. Maybe it's just a psychological thing that you expect it. I'm on about 8 pints of water a day now, man. But I can handle it. Just got to go to the loo at the moment, that's all. Always going to the loo. I'll take this opportunity right now, as a matter of fact. It's 8:14. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. If you're heading on...
Hello, Joan.
Oh, who was that just then?
Who was what, just when?
Oh, just before you.
Just before me what?
Saying hello.
Hello?
That's not me.
No, it's not you.
No. I don't even like that voice, actually.
Oh, that's a lovely voice.
Oh,
hello?
No. It's not lovely.
It is lovely. And she's a lovely person. Yes, you are, dear.
About the water, first of all.
Water, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when they started to say, you've got to drink about 8 gallons of water a day.
Gallons.
First of all, I thought, that sounds mad. And then secondly, I thought, just a minute.
Yeah.
There are an awful lot of water companies who would like to boost their sales. So
That's
I
right.
assumed it was some kind of advertising campaign through the, the health people.
8 gallons. You'd have to affix your lips over your kitchen tap. Cancel all of your afternoon appointments.
Wasn't it? Was it of something?
But the thing is, I mean, we've been instructed to drink all of this, haven't we? Over and over and over again. The experts and the government has told us
usual
to...
experts.
Yeah, that's right. But we come to find out that it's not true. And so we can't believe a single word that any of these people say.
Well, that's why I never do believe a word they say.
Right.
But of course, if you're ever so young, you don't realise that they always tell you lies.
But it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense to me, which is why one of the reasons I started drinking so very much of it. It just, it rids your body of toxins and plumps your flesh up with juicy fresh water. It just makes sense.
Well, I remember reading something years ago, and it said, before you go to bed at night, take 3 sips of water.
3 sips?
Yeah, because that is enough to do the cleansing work on you while you sleep.
Right.
And, so that's quite different, isn't it?
Whistle while you work and cleansing while you sleep.
Yeah, just 3 little sips of water. The other thing is about eating, and you did say to that lady, you said, and do you cook from scratch and eat? And I thought, well, I did this afternoon.
Right, what did you have?
I made myself a lovely jam sponge.
Well, that's not exactly what I had in mind, Joan.
It was what I had in mind. I felt so like I've been doing such good things today that I deserved a jam sponge.
Yeah. Well, every now and again, who doesn't like to dive into...
a jam sponge.
Yeah,
That's
a fruity
very nice.
cake, yeah.
But I did phone up about the road, about Whitehall and the road works.
Okay, now, I pass this usually on a Saturday or Sunday. Are there still roadworks in Whitehall?
Yes.
All right. So no change there, then?
And I thought I must phone somebody.
So you called...
Somebody. So yesterday I phoned the Westminster Council, the Highways Department.
Did you?
And I got somebody who said he would try and get somebody else. And when he tried to get somebody else, he couldn't. And then he tried to get somebody else and couldn't. So he said, well, look, I'll phone you back tomorrow. And he actually phoned me back today.
What?
Yeah. And he was a very nice man. And,
the way you said that, Joan. Are you walking out together?
I wouldn't mind. He's really nice.
Right.
However, unfortunately, he still couldn't get hold of anybody except one of his colleagues.
So what did you ask him?
Well, I did say that they'd been going on for ages, and apparently there was no work being actually done.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of the whole tourist area, and surely to goodness they could put a bit of a move on, because what's the point in having the expense?
Well, so just get on with it.
All the equipment there, and,
Well, you might be the one that makes a difference, Joan, because somebody did complain about this a little while ago on another road that was coming into London from somewhere else, I can't remember where. And they said, what are all these cones and these signs, and they've blocked off a lane, and so on and so forth. And they said, oh yeah, we forgot about that.
Really?
The roadworks finished a year ago. They just forgot to take the cones down. Isn't that shocking?
Well, anyway, I wish he had said something like that, but no. No, he said, he's been told, and this is the reason. He said, I've been told that it's going to take 2 years.
2 years for what?
2 years.
For what? What are they doing there?
And it's all about extra security.
Oh.
Yes. Extra security.
But I don't understand. How does digging a hole in the road provide extra security?
I don't know.
Are they building a trench?
What's to do with terrorism?
Is it a moat they're digging?
It will be if we have some heavy rain, won't it?
Yeah, that's coming.
And I said, well, the thing is, if you're saying it's going to take 2 years, surely to goodness people will be on there working every day.
Yeah, like really hard, yeah.
Otherwise it might take more than 2 years.
I mean, they should be working 24 hours a day. That nobody lives around there.
Yeah, and he said, oh, yes, but things are going on behind the scenes.
Oh, secret.
Planning. I said, no, the planning goes on at the beginning. That's when you do your planning. Then you get the workmen in, and you get the equipment in, and you get on with it.
No, you don't understand councils, Joan. First dig a hole, then figure out why.
Oh, and then he said... Anyway, he said, I can't say anything more about it because don't forget, this is secret
stuff.
Yeah,
top secret, that's right, yeah.
I said, just a moment. I said, everybody's passing by. They can stand there 24 hours and watch exactly what's being done.
Please don't peer in our hole.
You can see. You literally could. And I felt that actually somebody was taking the mic already. But, I mean, he did say he tried, and that was all the information he could possibly get. And I said, well, could I get in touch with anybody else who will know what's happening?
Oh, very tricky, that.
No.
He said no,
Nobody will know any more than that.
No, definitely not,
because it's secret.
I don't believe he tried to find anyone else. He just thought, oh, there's some annoying member of the public on the phone. I'll just give her the runaround, and maybe she'll go away.
I think so. So I had to thank him in the end and thought, what the heck can you do next then? Because they're not going to shift themselves, are they?
So, did you ask for his number?
No.
No.
Oh, he was so nice.
There's another chance. Gone.
I mean, obviously, a man on the phone with a nice voice like that and a charming manner, you know, it's a good put-off, isn't it, really?
Well, it'd be a giant uggo, probably, in real life, Joan. I mean, look at radio people. They sound fantastic. Look awful.
Oh, I expect you looked all right. I expect you look all right.
Oh, whoa, there was a past tense thrown in there. Did you notice that? I'm seriously considering being offended. But you're absolutely right, Joan. I did used to look fantastic. I won't lie to you.
When did you get your photos done, then?
About a decade ago.
Yes.
I've been airbrushed to within an inch of my life.
Oh. I'm sure you're lovely, really.
Yeah, that's me, lovely. Anyway, the best of luck with that. You keep on...
I'll keep on keeping on?
Yeah, sticking up for us.
See what I can do. I did mention the mayor.
Oh, did you?
I did mention the mayor, and he said, oh, no, I don't think he would know anything about it. And I
Right.
thought, I thought he was supposed to be. And I said, everyone's complaining. Everyone's complaining about all the roadworks all over the whole London area. And he said, yes, I believe they do.
Yeah, he can just about hear it from the top of his ivory tower. Yeah, I've got to go, Joan, but thanks a lot.
Then.
Cheers, Sarah.
Thank you.
Hey, there was a column about about British roads in general in one of the papers this is yesterday, in fact. What date is it? April the 4th. Did I get that right? April the 4th?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
this was yesterday, but it seems that I pulled this out about a week or so ago. Maybe I blacked out for a while there. A new study by the Asphalt Industry Alliance says that there are more than 3.5 million holes in Britain's roads, and the number has increased by 25% in the last year alone. Oh, wow. Some roads face a staggering 65-year wait for resurfacing. Did you hear what I just said?
Beg your pardon?
Some roads face it's worth saying again, some roads face a staggering 65-year wait for resurfacing. I'd like this road resurfaced, please. He says, checking his watch. That'll be the best part of 100 years. Can you wait? The Alliance says it knows of at least one pothole that was used by sheep as a shelter in Wales. As a result, some £53 million is paid out annually to motorists and other road users whose vehicles, and in some cases bones, are broken by these dreaded holes. Why do we put up with it, says this columnist Michael Hanlon, the science editor of the Daily Mail. He can't be very busy, can he? Science editor? When do they have any science in the Daily Mail? It's like the political editor of The Sun. There must have been acres of space in his diary. Our roads are nothing short of a disgrace, he says. Decades of underinvestment coupled with heroic levels of council incompetence, torrential rain, crumbling sewers, heavy traffic and cowboy building contractors have turned Britain's highways into a rutted, potholed nightmare that close up resembles the rugged badlands of the American West, and worryingly, it seems to be getting ever worse. I spent some time in Glasgow, which right enough does have worse weather than we got here. But there's some potholes up there that, I'm not kidding, you could lose your car in. They were huge. And if you didn't go around them, if you came up on them a little too quickly and you didn't see them, then, well, your car was a write-off. You'd be picking out a new one in the magazine at the weekend. Our cities, he said, now clatter to the constant rattle of pneumatic drills as teams of men dig up the roads again and again. No sooner has the broken water main been repaired than a cable needs laying, then another, and another. And every time the road is dug up, it's repaired with a patch of asphalt that's patted down carelessly and rolled over a few times by contractors who seem oblivious to the fact that within a month their work will once again resemble a World War I trench. And that's if you're lucky. Sometimes the holes are just left there, gaping, like a dentist sending a patient home with his teeth drilled but not filled. When a water main burst at the end of our street a few years ago, the men came, dug up the road, repaired the main, and then left, without filling in the 5-foot hole. For days, weeks, months, it just yawned there. Every now and again the hole would claim a victim, a cyclist perhaps, or an old lady in a Mini, who would disappear into the void, screaming, possibly never to be seen again. Every morning a tailback a mile long stretched behind the hole as cars inched around it. The cost in lost man-hours must have run into millions of pounds over the weeks. I phoned the council. Not our problem, mate. Then the water company. Yes, that hole. We know about it. Well, the bloke in charge is off sick, and no one else has the authority to order the repair. I know it sounds a bit pathetic. Yes, old chap, it does. My commute takes me through the South London borough of Lambeth, he says, whose roads are almost comically bad. Some of the potholes are so deep I expect they have to send in cave rescue teams when there's a car accident. Yesterday I nearly had a nasty off when I swerved to avoid a new hole about 2 foot wide and at least 9 inches deep. It was on my usual route to work and had appeared overnight. This guy goes into work on a bicycle. Which I think is almost the definition of insanity. Driving a bicycle in London, you've got to be off your head, haven't you? I mean, having a steel cage around you is bad enough. We don't see you. We can't... we're people in cars, we can't see you. We're scratching, we're shouting at the radio, we're, having a fag, all of those other things that we're, busy doing, choosing our holidays from the magazine, fiddling with our sat-navs, We can't see it, but wear bright colours. The amount of cyclists and blokes on motorbikes wearing dressed entirely in black. Now, I know motorcyclists like to dress in black leather because it makes them look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
As they think it looks cool. It just makes you look like you're about to be dead, to me. I'm not going to have time to finish the rest of this, but I'll maybe come back and talk about this in a minute. Yesterday, I nearly had a nasty off when I swerved to avoid a new hole about 2 foot wide and at least 9 inches deep. It was on my usual route to work and it had appeared overnight. That's where we'll leave this. The number here, 0845 6060 973. This is LBC. It's 8:30. Right, he continues. There's not much more. I'm just going to finish this column about the State of Britain's Roads by Michael Hanlon, the science editor of the Daily Mail. He says, in other cities across Britain, the surfaces of roads are so worn out you can see the old cobblestones beneath the tarmac re-emerging from the Victorian era. The irony is that as councils and central government move to tax large, heavy, four-wheel drive gas guzzlers off our roads, these otherwise silly cars are fast becoming the only vehicles capable of dealing with these treacherous conditions. Well, that's true. Ordinary cars simply can't cope. It's not uncommon for wheels to be destroyed when driving over the worst offenders, and suspensions can be wrecked. Britain's largely useless councils are constantly bleating that they don't have enough money, but this doesn't stop them hiring vast legions of pointless officers to make us aware of equality and our need to eat vegetables or spy on our rubbish and so on. It's us, we, who put up with this, we who let this useless shower get away with managing the decline in our infrastructure. Next time you bend a wheel or twist a suspension arm on your car, get a letter from the garage and sue the council. Next time you come off your bike and hurt yourself thanks to a pothole, come back with a camera, take pictures, and again, sue. It's the only way to get through to them. It's the only kind of language they understand. Cab driver called Pat. Hello, Pat.
Hello, how you doing, all right?
All right, thanks.
Good boy. Those roadworks that you talked about in Whitehall,
yeah,
they're security measures they're putting in. They're building a brand new fence around the Foreign Office and the Treasury, and all the way down to the Cabinet Office.
Really?
And extending the pavement. Yeah, they're going to make the road narrower, make the pavements wider, and put a security wall in the middle.
Well, like
with a very nice balustrade all the way down.
Like the thing that they have outside the Houses of Parliament?
No, these ones, when look at that, they're made of nice York stone brick, but apparently they got steel underneath them.
Right.
So steel barriers and got this nice stone all around it.
Yeah, they need to fix the ones outside the Houses of Parliament, because they look temporary, don't they? Yeah, terrible, yeah.
And when the people that come to London to visit, they must think, what's going on here?
Yes, that's right.
Disgusting, man, disgusting.
Yeah. OK, well, that's, so how did you know all that?
Because I'm nosy. I'm a cab driver, so I'm nosy. But, they started this ages ago. And, they did the very same in Horseguards Avenue. They put all these new, pop-up bollards.
Yeah.
About 60 of them. And then they built a nice new wall at the back of the Foreign Office by the Churchill, bunker. And they've extended it all the way around the corner. It's the George's Road, up to Parliament Square, Parliament Street. And that's it, so that's what it is.
Well, I suppose that makes sense. All right, well, thanks for the inside scoop, Pat.
My pleasure. I'll ring again when I've got more history information.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Take care.
Those, have you seen those bollards in action? Those ones that disappear into the pavement and then come up? They are staggeringly strong. I mean, much stronger than you could possibly imagine. I've seen videos of lorries being driven at them. And keep in mind that this is something that can... they have them in Leicester Square, the ones that disappear into the road and then come back up again. In fact, they have some of them in bus lanes. And the buses have some sort of magic wand that makes them go down, and then as soon as the bus has gone past, they'll pop back up again. And I've seen some videos of cars trying to follow the bus down the, and cars just get lifted into the air. Much to the surprise of the people that were inside. But I've seen lorries, fully laden lorries, driving at these mobile bollards, and the lorries just collapse in on themselves. They just, from 50 miles an hour, they stop instantly, and there's a crease going all the way down the front of the lorry where it just folds in on itself. And the bollard is unscathed, and it can go up and down as was. Amazing. The things that science comes up with, eh? In fact, that bloke in the Daily Mail should write about that. It's 0845 6060 973. I should have asked him if he has any trouble with potholes.
I'm almost sure he does.
Well, swerving around them. You see, there's another thing that's that is dangerous for people on bikes, because they won't sit in traffic. They're forever weaving around, and so it's unpredictable as to where they're going to be. And if you see a pothole in the road, you're going to try and weave around it, right? You're not just going to go over it. If you can see a giant hole that might ruin your car, you're going to wiggle around it, right? Yes? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And so if some cyclist or motorbike man is trying to go by you, then he may come a cropper. But still, at least your axle won't get broken. I would never drive on two wheels in London. I think that sounds crazy to me. Why would you do it?
I don't think I've been on a bike since I was a kid.
No. Since I was at the gym. They ain't going nowhere.
No risk of potholes there.
No, that's right. Here's one in Soho. Hello, John.
Oh, hello. I was just about to go back in the garage. I go on a bicycle everywhere. In fact, I went from Barnes to Soho to Angel, back down at Caledonian Road, got on the canal, went to Portobello, then back to Barnes today. But that's not why I'm calling you.
Wow. You must have buns of steel, John.
Actually, I can crack walnuts, but I peel grapes.
Yeah. Your lungs must be in a right state, but the rest of you, fantastic.
That's a point, actually. Your lungs. No one ever thinks about that. When you're behind, it's like those motorbikes that have got their exhaust set up. I was behind one today, and it was almost like someone was firing bullets at you. Like,
yeah.
And you get these hot diesel fumes that go shooting past, giving you side partings in your head.
Now, cyclists, for a little while there, it was fashionable to have these masks on, but they just stopped wearing them.
Yeah, but you look too much like a Japanese person. It's worse than wearing a hoodie as well. You look like Eminem. Eminem, he wears one because he rides a bicycle.
Right.
But I'll tell you one thing about why you should cycle in London, though, because everyone wants to save money. Do you know you get 20 pence per mile back from the taxman every year?
What do you mean?
If you could claim back that you ride a bicycle and how many miles a year you do. I put in 2,200 this year, so get your producer to do the math. You get 20 pence a mile back from your taxes, because if you use it for work. But I'm freelance, so as far as I'm concerned, when I'm on my bicycle, I'm working.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Richmond Park, what?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Well, have a word with your taxman. I'm telling the truth.
So you get 20p per mile...
And it's something like if you drive a car around and you use a car, you get 50 pence a mile back. If you put your miles in, so, all right, you can calculate it. I go between Barnes and Soho every day. That's 8 miles each day. That's 16 plus a little in between, so I can put 18 miles a day in. So do the math. You get 20 pence a mile back per year.
Wow, this is coming as news to me. Has anybody else heard that? Anybody in there? No, it's like confused looks all round. Well, that sounds like a wizard wheeze. I'll pretend I've got a bike.
22, get your producer to do the math, how much I can make back on the tax. 2,200, I don't know what it is. Anyway, that's not what I'm calling you about.
Righto.
But anyway, cyclists rule the world. We're like the Spitfires, I'll tell you that much, because I rule the world. I mean the road.
Right.
Between the whole of West London into Central London, I rule those worlds.
It's your manner.
I'm calling you, yes. But one of the places I go to every day is Grosvenor Square.
Oh, yeah.
Where the American Embassy used to be.
Yes. Where is it now?
Well, I don't know. I don't care. But
that's not why you called. Yeah.
On the west side, you've got the American Embassy. Now, why are they doing all that building there? But it's not like they're building the fortress. They used to have those big old concrete bollards around
That's right.
They've got those big steel pillars that come shooting out of the ground like something out of Thunderbirds, you know.
Yeah.
So they're completely falsifying it, or whatever the word is. Fortify is what they do with cereals, isn't it? But so that's what they're doing. But the thing is, I think that's where President Blair's going to move his office.
He's going to take that huge building.
Yeah, well, why not? If he's president of Europe, which he thinks he's going to be, and no one seems to be arguing against him.
No.
Except there are a couple of people in Germany saying, "Don't be ridiculous."
Yeah, and Gordon might have a word to say about it, but
oh, Gordon, come on, what's he ever said?
What's Gordon ever said? He said that.
I am your father. father. So, you know what? I just get so embarrassed when I see him on there. He looks like one of your teachers who looks like he soiled himself. You know.
Now I think you've gone just a tad too far there, John.
Oh, it's the Prime Minister.
Well, actually, when I was away in Thailand,
I didn't vote for him.
When I was away in Thailand, every now and again, I just turn when it got too hot outside. You had to repair back inside to get some blast of air conditioning. I'd turn on the telly, and they'd have, it was foreign TV, and they'd have all these foreign leaders, and they're all looking there, looking presidential, and so on. And then Gordon Brown's picture would come on the screen, and you'd think,
and he's got his shirt hanging out.
Yes, and his face hanging out.
Oh dear, he does. He looks like what was that guy, Edward W.C. Fields with his gin blossoms.
In fact, come to think of it, his face needs ironing. I hadn't thought about that before, but you're absolutely right, John.
Well, it needs someone to take the stopper out the back and let a little bit of air out. It's an overinflated tyre.
But still, let's not get personal, eh?
Right. Well, you know what? I didn't vote for him, and no one did. So, as far as I'm concerned, come off it. Good old Tony. I think the whole thing was just set up for him to make a load of money and his own ego going on or whatever.
Well, it's almost as though it was set up to make Tony look better, because Tony seemed to Tony Blair wasn't in the business of politics. He was in the business of show business, which is how it's gone now. Politics really is show business, and
everything's show business.
Whoever looks good on telly is who we vote for. And because Sir Gordon is a politician of the old school, it's almost as though we've gone back in time to the 1950s. And he looks like he's in black and white all the time. It's just... and I feel kind of sorry for him, really, because You
feel sorry for him like you feel sorry for one of those teachers that everyone always felt bad about or whatever.
That's right.
And used to mess around in their class or whatever, and you'd be like... Yeah, but someone would say, you know what, he's had a lot of trouble with his wife, or this or that, and you think, we've got to feel a bit sorry for him, but you still carry on behind his back.
Like Pink Floyd, everyone knows that at night he goes back and his fat, psychopathic wife thrashes him to within an inch of his life. That probably wasn't the exact lyrics, but it was something, more or less there. John, I've got to go, but thanks very much.
Love your work.
So, where's the American Embassy now, then? What are they doing with that building?
I don't know.
Because I know that there was they were going to move it. They have that giant building in Grosvenor Square right enough, which is almost completely featureless, apart from that hideous lump of a building with a giant eagle on top. And they had all of the... it's a little while since I've driven by there, but they had all that sort of makeshift security measures running around it. That didn't look permanent in any way. And then there was word that they were going to move. Have they actually quit that building? Because you'd think that the American Embassy moving, that would cause London to come to a standstill.
I remember there was an almighty fuss about it. They spent all that money on putting those defences in, only to move, but I don't know if they've done it yet. Maybe that cab driver will know. He seems to know a lot about these things.
I bet somebody's bought that... If they have moved out, I bet somebody's bought that building and they'll turn it into executive flatlets. With no cupboards. Only £4,000 a square foot. 8:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. On the trains, National Express East Anglia.
Fabulous.
The number here is 0845 6060 973. I was talking about petrol. And what came up in that conversation was actually quite right. When you think about petrol and water cost about the same. A gallon of, don't do it in gallons, a litre of petrol is what, £1.7, £1.9, something like that. A litre of water is about that. Particularly if you buy it in a supermarket, it'll be sort of 74p, 75, something like that. You buy it in a restaurant, it'll be £3.50. So let's take the average, and water is actually more expensive than petrol. I mean, if you bought a litre of petrol in a restaurant, it'd probably cost you £10. Well, service they've got to add on, and flame proofing your napkin, all of that. So it's actually very, very cheap when you think about it. Well, all they have to do to get it out the ground. They have to, drill a big hole, put the big sucking machine in to slurp it out the ground, or however it is that they do it. then they got to stick it on a boat, and they got to drive it over here. That is exactly how they do it, by the way. I saw it on a documentary. Word for word. It's like an education, this show, ain't it?
No.
But, of course, we're going to be forced, or encouraged, rather, to use biofuel. No, it's not encouraged. It's forced to use biofuels. And for a little while, I've been saying that this is perhaps not the way to go. This is a stopgap. Of course, Porsche are going to be contesting the sea charge increase for this is all related. It's all tied in together. Spit it out, Nick. What's it you're trying to say? So, Porsche are going to congest the sea charge thing. The introduction of the higher London congestion charge could leave Porsche nursing tens of millions of pounds in lost sales. The sports car maker said yesterday as it stepped up its attempt to have the higher tax overturned. And we're all behind you. Porsche and other claimants, including London businesses and residents, formally launched a High Court challenge to the plan to hike the congestion charge in the capital from £8 to £25 for gas-guzzling vehicles. And you think, we've been using this technology for how long? How long has the internal combustion engine been around? Or the Wankel rotary engine, or whatever it is they use in the back of their little cars? About 100 years, more or less. It's about as perfect as we can get it. And it's still not even close to being efficient, really, is it? I mean, if it's pumping out all of this CO2, all of this extra... it's in no way using what's going into it in an efficient way, if it's pouring all this stuff out the back, almost by definition. And you think that a company like Porsche would be able to fix its engines. I mean, just fix them, you know, do something to make them better. It's about time, isn't it? We've had the communications revolution, and we're all, well, it's a bit bizarre, really, the communications revolution. We all have the ability to communicate more quickly. It's just that we don't actually speak to each other anymore. Nobody talks to each other after the advent of the communications. You see people, friends, going to pubs, and each one of them is on the mobile phone to someone who's not there. So nobody talks to anybody else anymore. It's emails and text messages and all of that jazz. But that's the nature of the communications revolution. What we haven't had is the energy revolution, the power revolution. We're still using batteries, which are ridiculous when you think about it. They run out, you've got to go and get a new one. How daft is that? So that's what they're doing. They're doing this, and that's just kind of a by-the-by, and has nothing to do with biofuels. Which is this here. Plans to force motorists to run their cars on green petrol, green in inverted commas, could lead to higher levels of greenhouse gases, the government's leading environment scientists said yesterday. Now, the government seems to have a history of asking scientists to study an issue, thinking that they're going to come back with the answer that they want. Cannabis, perfect example. All over the papers still today, and everyone's saying, oh, yes, it is, and oh, no, it isn't, and on and on and on they go. I might talk about that in a minute. Oh, blimey, everyone's holding their head in their hands. We know what we're going to get. But when these scientists that the government's asked to look into this issue come back with the answer that the government doesn't want, it's almost as though that result, the survey, hasn't existed. They deny all knowledge of it. You look like you were going to say something.
I was, and I changed my mind.
Oh, right.
Much like those research grants,
that's right.
Just binned it.
See, it fits right in. Professor Robert Watson said it would be totally insane to promote the use of biofuels for environmental purposes if it was found that their introduction contributed to greater carbon emissions through the destruction of the forests. Totally insane to promote these use of biofuels. So what's the government going to do? Promote the use of biofuels.
What?
Yes. He called on the government to delay the compulsory use of green petrol and diesel until a review had been completed into the sustainability of their production. From next week, did you know this? From next week, 2.5% of all fuel sold at British pumps must be derived from biofuels. A figure expected to double by 2010. I had no idea. Did you know that? The stuff you learn on this show. It's an eye-opener, ain't it? The move under the Renewable Transport Fuels Obligation, RTFO, or RTF, is aimed at reducing the impact of fossil fuels, a major contributor to climate change, but scientists fear it could have the opposite effect. How silly is that? They're going to... I'll continue, because I'll just render myself speechless. Last month, a study of the Nature Conservancy said, and the University of Minnesota, published in Science magazine, said that clearing... by the way, in Science magazine, they don't airbrush any of their pictures. People actually look like they do in Science magazine. Of that you can be sure. They said that clearing forests, grassland and peatland to plant crops for biofuels released more carbon than it saved. Like I said, the whole world's gone crazy. So they're cutting down forests in order to save the forests. Are you with me? It would obviously be totally insane, he said, if we had a policy to try and reduce greenhouse gas emissions through the use of biofuels that's actually leading to an increase in the greenhouse gases from biofuels. In a joint letter to Miss Kelly, groups including Oxfam, the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development and the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, the International Institute for the Environment and Development, Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace, says that there's a very real risk that it will make climate change worse, not better. Do you want me to read all those organisations again? Why bother? No one's listening. Doug Parr, the chief scientific advisor of Greenpeace, said, for one of the government's top scientists to describe these plans as potentially insane suggests that something has gone seriously wrong here. A spokesman for the Department of Transport said it has at its heart a detailed sustainability reporting mechanism going further than any country, which will create a strong incentive for transport fuel suppliers to source sustainable biofuels, which is a lot of gobbledygook, which means, essentially, oh no, it's not. So all of these experts say that the policy that the government is about to embark on is, and they actually use the word insane, which is quite strong, really, for an organisation that was charged by the government to do research for it. I mean, they normally come back and say it might be inadvisable if, or perhaps the best policy might not be the one that you're undertaking. But to come back and say, you're insane, that's quite strong, really. I mean, that's a clear indication of where their beliefs lie. And the government's answer was, oh, no, it's not. Essentially, they're putting their fingers in their ears, and they're saying, I can't hear you. This is LBC 97.3.
Absolutely.
I, for the life of me, thought that he was going to say, talking about the Chuki Embra, who's sitting up and working, and I'll just waggle my fingers in the air to denote inverted commas, working. Nobody has any, he's doing office work. What, typing, is he? He said, don't forget, he's 86, going on, and I thought he was going to say something like he's 86 going on 40, or 86 going on 35 to denote what a young and vigorous chap he is, despite his age. But no, he said 86 going on 87. Oh, right, what a disappointment. Here's Colin Barnett, Mirel.
Hello, Nick.
Mirel, Marbell.
Oh, what do you know the next words, though? The Mirel Marbell.
Marbell.
It's French, isn't it? Oh dear.
Close.
Close, very close. First of all, I wanted to say, I'm not one of the unclean anymore. I have a job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got offered a job today. I'm so pleased. After ages and ages and ages, somebody's decided to give one of the unemployed a chance.
Wow, they must be out of their minds.
Oh, thank you very much. I love you too.
So what are you going to do?
I'm going to be a doctor's receptionist.
Oh, for a moment there I thought you were going to say I'm going to be a doctor.
I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to go to college for 6 years and I'm going to study medicine, or 8 years, whatever it is. No, I'm really pleased.
A doctor's receptionist?
I am, yes. You know one of those Harrigans that never let you make an appointment?
Yes, I do.
That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be one of those people saying, you don't... No, actually, they're not Harrigans. They're nice people.
Well... Yeah.
You meant to say yes, Morel.
Yes, Morel.
Thank you.
Now, is it, you're going to be his private secretary? So, in other words, you're going to be handling his private patients?
No, just the surgery. You know when you go in,
yeah,
and you go to make an appointment, you go up to the receptionist, don't you, and you have to make an appointment with Dr. whoever.
A GP?
Yes.
A GP surgery receptionist?
Yes.
Oh, blimey, that's going to be a nightmare, Morel. You don't want to do that.
What? Don't say that. I've been on it forever. I don't want to do that. I was really pleased I was floating without drugs today. I was ecstatic.
Of course, you'll have easy access to a lot of excellent drugs there, though.
Yes, but...
You'll be able to pack your bag with bandages and all sorts, Morel.
Maybe I could... No, I better not say anything. You never know who's listening.
No, that's right.
No, I couldn't do something like that, but I'm very pleased.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, because I have been absolutely waiting for ages, and the longer you're unemployed, Nick, the harder it is to get a job.
I know.
Because when you go for an interview, they say, why have you been unemployed for this long? And then it goes another month.
Yeah.
But this one decided to give me a chance, so...
Well, that's
very
great.
Grateful, thank you.
You're going to be serving an endless series of ill, whining people. It's going to be one long queue of misery all day long, Morel.
And what about the people that are grateful that the doctors have cured them?
Oh, they won't talk to you. They'll just skip by. You'll just be talking to the ill people, yeah.
I'll just have the whiners and the threatening behaviour, I think.
That's
yeah?
right, yeah.
No, it'd be lovely. It's a really nice job. I know I'm going to be happy there.
Good.
I'll tell you why I phoned, apart from telling everybody my good news.
I want to ask you a question before you go, but you go ahead.
Okay, I've sort of started visiting an elderly lady that lives around the corner, and she's gone into hospital, and I went up to hospital to see her today, and what I really wanted to say was, we treat our elderly people so bad, and I really enjoy, I enjoy visiting her. Like, she's interesting.
Yeah.
Full of stories.
Right.
Intelligent, okay, and a really good friend. And I was sitting there listening, and I thought to myself, all these people that are on their own, because they haven't got family,
yeah,
okay, and other nations aren't like this. It seems to be something that when you get old, nobody wants to know you. And
That's
I don't
right.
think... I don't think you realise what you're missing. And when I came out of the hospital, I was walking down the road, I banged straight into some hoodies. And I just thought, ugh. I really did think, ugh. And I'm walking past them, it's all blood this and blood that. And I felt like saying, are you bleeding? I really had to hold my tongue. And, you know, there's such obviously there's a generation gap because of in age. But I walk past them and I feel physically ill. I spend an hour chatting with someone who's full of stories, giving me loads of good advice. Incidentally, ladies, if you want good skin when you're 80-something, use Vaseline, because she's 84 and she hasn't got her skin perfect.
Don't you look a bit greasy?
No, honestly, for an 84-year-old, the plastic surgeons would want her secret. And I couldn't believe it, not a wrinkle.
Well, she doesn't go out with Vaseline on her face, does she?
No, you put it on at night. The same
at night.
Moisturising cream.
Right.
But 84 and there's not a wrinkle there, and it's just Vaseline.
Well, she just press her face into a bucket of it, or what?
No, you just don't be
scrape it off with a trowel.
Just the same as you do with moisturiser.
Right.
That's to say, but it'll probably cost you about £300 or £3,000 a year less.
Yeah, right.
And the skin's fantastic. But it was just, there was such a... I don't know, it just really made me think, why do we treat our elderly people so badly? And we do in this country.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes. And you're quite right, other countries don't, but other countries are more sort of family-centric. I mean, the nation that you always think of in this respect is Italy, where, partly because they're poor, the kids live at home, and many generations are living in the same house, and everybody has dinner together, and with the result that their society doesn't seem to be... Well, of course, we don't know, but the impression is that their society doesn't seem to be crumbling before their eyes like ours is.
I think it's in the villages, in the south, where a friend is, they're very like that, but I think in the big towns, Rome and Naples and places like that, I think they're having, not as bad as us. I mean, nobody's got disrespect as bad as we have in this country, but I don't think it's as close as it used to be. I think in the villages and in the mountains it's still very much family orientated, but I think I don't know, I'm just sort of presuming that with the work ethic and everything else that everybody's got now, I mean they're better than us at everything though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was in Milan. I was in the last time I went to, the only time I went to Italy was in the north, and I did get the impression that the North Italians look down at, literally and figuratively, at their southern neighbours because they think they're work-shy, thick layabouts.
Oh, yeah, the north and the south. Yeah, they do. But that's a bit like, isn't it, northern and southerners?
Well, yeah, and North and South Wales and the Scottish and the Sassenachs, which is like border people. Yeah, all countries are kind of like that, isn't it? Why can't people just get along, Mirelle?
Absolutely, you know. So I thought wouldn't have a rant today, but I just wanted to say that it's a shame because it was a really interesting, you know, evening.
We used to revere our old people, and now we almost have the sort of Eskimo approach where we just want them to float away and disappear. Yeah.
That's sad. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how much Botox you have, how many lips and tucks and suckings out and puttings in you have, you're going to get old.
That's right.
It doesn't make any difference.
And that you don't realise that until quite a way through life, when it's sort of, you think, oh yeah, hang on a minute, that's going to happen to me too.
Exactly. Before you get to ask, what question did you want to ask me?
What do you think about wolf whistling?
Well, when you get to my age, you don't get it enough. No.
So that's a positive then?
That's a positive. Wolf whistling is absolutely fine. Some councils banned it, or somebody's banned it, haven't they?
Yeah, one of the big building companies.
Yeah, it's there's, you know, no problems at all. If you get a wolf whistle when you get to my age, you're very grateful.
Right. So you feel positive when you hear it?
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't freak out and think that your rights have been abused and you wish to make a complaint?
No.
Right.
No. Because a wolf whistle is, you're just walking past and you look nice and some guy whistles. He's not, if it's a wolf whistle and it's something that is sort of very crude and sexist and makes you, is demeaning.
Yeah, I mean, if they're hanging off the scaffolding with their tongues out...
Yeah, exactly. That's a bit different.
Yes.
But it's just a wolf whistle. It's like, quickly before I go, somebody called me mate the other day and I was so offended.
Yeah.
I'm not a mate.
No, you're a love.
I'm a love, or I'm a Morel, or I'm a darling, or I'm a babe, or I'm a friend. I'm not a mate.
I'll call you Chook.
I'm a chook?
Yeah, hen.
That's a chicken. Yeah, but I was really, I came back and said to my friends, I'm so offended. I've just been called mate. And I just burst out. I just think it's really offensive.
Yeah, I'll say.
Because a mate is someone you go down the pub with your bother boots and short hair on. Do you know what I mean? It's true. That is more offensive. Being called mate by a man is more offensive than being wolf whistled at.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know?
All right, cheers, mate.
Oh, I love you too, Nick.
Thanks, Morel.
Right.
0845 6060 973. I think that political correctness has caught up with us and has passed us by, and we are blinking in its wake, and we haven't actually got to where it's got to yet. Did any of that make sense?
Yeah.
Did it?
It's... no.
None of it?
I thought it did, and now I'm thinking about it, and I can't get my head around it.
I think that the politically correct brigade thinks that they're catching up with public opinion. Here you go. This is almost going to make sense this time around. But they've caught up with us and passed us, such that we are blinking in the smoke of their wake as they recede into the distance, having completely surpassed our expectations of what it is, of what good behaviour is. I started out well, and then it sort of faltered at the end.
Well, that made sense the second time.
Right. So, do you know what I mean? Right, and I think this wolf whistling thing is part of it. And it happened a few days ago, and as is always the case with newspapers, you pause for breath, and then all the columnists pile in. And, much to my surprise, all of the female columnists that I read in every paper seemed to be against the idea of banning wolf whistling. Now, I thought that they would be standing up and giving it a round of applause. And I'll read one of them out as we come back, because I think it's quite illuminating to get the view from the flip side, as it were. It's 9:15. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. Still some problems on the train.
Doggy!
Here's Kentish Town. Hello, Pat.
Hi, Nick.
Pat.
Yeah, I was saying to your producer that I think that, you know, the kind of minor officials that work in councils and government that come out with these politically correct policies that we all have to abide by. I think that...
Mealy-mouthed suits, yes.
Sorry?
I know what you mean, yeah. Go on.
They should, when they come out with these policies, I think they should name the person who's come up with the idea.
Name and address, yeah.
Yeah, but I was told that I wasn't allowed to say what we should do to them, but, yeah.
String them up?
It involves the club.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's all I want to say, really. But and then maybe they wouldn't come out with these ideas, because they're hiding behind the organisation that they work for to kind of make a name, maybe not for themselves, but... You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thought, yes. There should be all of these edicts should have the name of the person who came up with it on it. Yes,
Yeah.
so we know where to direct our opprobrium. Yeah, quite right, too. All right, good suggestion, Pat.
Oh, no.
I'll note it down and pop it to them in the post and expect the usual response. None whatsoever. So I was sort of taken aback, really. Well, not taken aback. I mean, I don't care that much. I was surprised by the amount of female columnists who came to the support of the guys who hang off scaffolding and wolf whistle at women going by. This was all about the big construction firm who's asked their workers not to wolf whistle at people going into their sales office, that's perfectly reasonable. Understandable. I mean, if you went into Harrods, for instance, to take an example, you wouldn't expect the doorman to wolf whistle at the woman going through the door, would you? No. Nor a hotel. You wouldn't expect the guy behind the desk to wolf whistle at a woman as she's walking up the stairs to her room. So it's just a business. It's a giant construction company, and they're just, if as a woman you're going to look at an exquisite new block of executive flatlets, then you wouldn't want to be harassed. Is it harassed or harassed? Harassed always sounds better to me, but then I heard the BBC always say harassed. It sounds odd. Which is it?
Personally, I'd go with harassed.
Harassed, I'll say then. You look up the dictionary, and it tells you how to pronounce it, but it looks like Greek to me, doesn't it? You look at a dictionary and it gives you the how to pronounce the words, and who can make head and tail of that? It doesn't help at all. Anyway, this is the and if you have an opinion about this, by the way, about wolf whistling or this political correct. Oh, I can't finish that word. Political correctivism. Is that right? In general, then the number is 0845 6060 973. I won't hold you to that topic, by the way. If there's anything else you want to talk about, then that's fine too. Anything goes. Where once a glimpse of stocking seemed shocking. 0845 6060 973. But this is Celia Walden. A name I recognise. Walden. Is that the family of Waldens? He used to do... Walden? What's that chap's name? He used to do, like, a political programme on a commercial channel, I'm sure. Brian Walden BBC. Might be. Celia Walden in what looks like the Telegraph. I think it's Telegraph. The women of Bristol arrived at their offices yesterday morning looking listless, their shoulders hunched, their confidence dented. The sun was out, the bus was on time, but something fundamental was wrong. The wolf whistles had stopped. As of 9 a.m. on Wednesday, one of the city's leading construction firms, George Wimpey, banned its workers from wolf whistling. The firm claimed that the comic trill, made up of 2 rising and 2 descending notes in portamento, was out of place in the 21st century. The move, which is set to spread nationwide across the building industry, was explained to Wimpey's sales staff by marketing boss Richard Goad. Savvy and sophisticated women, he wrote in a round-robin email, won't stand for being whistled at by builders. Similarly, he went on, carried away with his own sanctity, men report finding it insulting when their loved ones are whistled at, and it causes unnecessary tension on what should be an enjoyable search for a new home. Well, that last bit I have great difficulty with. Enjoyable search for a new home. When has that process ever been enjoyable? Anyway, Celia Walden continues, Mr. Goad, you're wrong. In a country where the most effusive form of male compliment is, my mate fences you, wolf whistles are a blessed reminder that the British male is not yet as emasculated as his diminishing sperm count suggests. And you know what? Women enjoy being wolf whistled at. Shocking as it is, simple creatures that we are, we appreciate the compliment. Like the cab driver calling you love, or your boss complimenting you on your dress. It makes your day. Just a little bit nicer. Oi, when did you ever compliment me on my dress?
Is this aimed at me?
Yes.
Oh, we're talking about how smartly dressed you are all the time in here.
What it doesn't do, she says, is send you running tearful to the head of human resources, or prompt you to lock yourself in the ladies' loo feeling bruised or degraded. Well, it does for some women, but I trust they're not Telegraph readers, she says. As for the men, Mr. Goad describes the ones who feel insulted by the ordeal their fragile wives and girlfriends face every time they pass a building site. I've yet to meet a man who dislikes the fact that his woman is appealing to others. As erotic games go, wolf whistling is hardly Max Mosley territory, is it? Max Mosley recently in the news for... Thank you, sir, may I have another? What? Shocked looks all round. You must have read that. And what of builders, she says? Denied a simple act of camaraderie and neutered by the PC brigade, they're left bemused by the absurdity of the move. It's just a fun thing to do when you see a pretty girl, shrugs builder Eamon MacDonald, whom I spoke to on a southwest London building site yesterday. We've been told not to do it and so on, but the girls don't seem to mind. Most of the time they just smile back at us. I sometimes whistle at girls who aren't even that pretty, he says. Just because they look a bit down in the mouth and seem like they could do with some cheering up. Nobody's ever had a go at me for it. But there's the flip side. By killing off one harmless old-age male sport, George Wimpy may have spawned a compulsive new female pastime. Never mind trying to make the Grenadier Guards crack a smile. Just watch as the hordes of scantily clad females parade past Wimpy sites across the UK in search of that elusive whistle. How long will it be for the first builders to crack? And I think builders and crack in the same sentence is ill-advised. Here is Deptford. Sonia.
Hello.
Hey, Sonia.
Yeah.
Hi, Sonia.
Hello, Nick. I looked up in the Oxford Dictionary about harass.
Oh, yeah.
And it can be pronounced either way.
Oh, what a relief. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Oh, right. Do you mind being wolf whistled at?
I don't mind, as long as they're not sort of too near me.
Yeah, well, as long as they're not, like, following you home.
Scaffolding, you feel safe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't do it in your face,
No.
would they? They do it from a distance.
Yeah,
from a
that's
distance.
all right. I mean, I never get it nowadays, because I'm 69.
Right. But,
in my youth, I was quite happy
yeah.
to be wolf whistled.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Sonia.
That's okay.
Cheers, my dear.
Bye.
Ta-ra. What a nice lady. There you are, you see. I wouldn't mind being wolf whistled at myself.
Don't look at us. I couldn't even have wanted to.
Isn't that shocking? I come in day after day, I look my best, try to make an impression, and what do I get? Nothing. Abuse. That's
Get
all.
a cup of tea.
A cup of tea, yeah. Blooming cup of tea. Tastes like fish.
That's a terrible thing to say. Poor Abby slaved over that.
Just telling it like it is. 0845 6060 973 if you want to talk about that or anything else. Of course, the end of the world is nigh.
What, between now and 10? Or?
No, between now and the end of next month.
Ah, right.
Did you read about that?
I didn't. Do tell.
Well, what if I don't want to? It's this bloke in Russia, you see. He'd apparently had a quick chat with God. God said, end of the world coming in about 4 weeks. So, 6 months ago, they decided to repair to a cave to, you know, wait out the forthcoming hail of brimstone. What is brimstone, by the way? Oh, he's looking up at the ceiling as though the answer is there. You're going to have to Google it, man. Other search engines are available. Brimstone, we need to know. Inquiring minds are keen to find out. Go on, you've got until 29:55 when we have to repair to the news. 29:55, just write that down. Brimstone. Yes? Brimstone butterflies? No, that's not going to do it. You see, I would say brimstone definition. Never mind, what do I know? Blimey, we could be here all night. Do you want to talk us through your brimstone? Fire and brimstone. Go ahead.
Brimstone is an alternate name for sulphur. And may also refer to fire and brimstone, a pejorative term for hell as preached in Christianity.
Where are you reading this from?
The screen.
I'm looking at the same page you are.
There.
Oh, yes, I see, yes. Right.
What are you reading?
Shut up. What an attitude. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm in here trying to do my best and all I'm getting is abuse. Help! I'm being abused! Right, I'll click on that one there. One moment, please.
Wait for the internet to spin up.
Fire and brimstone is a pejorative term. Now, okay, look up pejorative. Used to describe a motif in Christian preaching, which uses vivid descriptions of judgment and the damnation to hell of sinners forever to encourage repentance and fear of divine wrath and punishment.
I don't think that's the brimstone you were looking for, is it?
Well, yeah, it is. Brimstone. But it still doesn't tell us what brimstone actually is. The internet is rubbish. There's nothing on it.
It is overrated.
Have you noticed? Every time you look at the internet, there's nothing to see. Nothing to see here. Please move along. Go on. Fire and brimstone. Brimstone. Definition of brimstone. If you don't find it in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to kill you. And I don't mean that, I mean, I'm actually going to burst through the glass and throttle you to death.
Old name for sulphur.
Thank you! Old name for sulphur. Right. A chemical element that has the symbol S and an atomic number 16. I'm just, coming up with that off the top of my head. The stuff I used to learn at school. Incredible. Anyway, I haven't got time to do the bloomin' story now. That took so long. Good grief. This show is a shambles, and it's all your fault. You being a producer and all. When will you ever take responsibility for what I say? 97.3, as we're coming into the news, and I'll come right back. This is LBC, it's 9:30.
Yeah?
Here is Forest Hill. Hello, Jill.
Hiya. All I can say to you is...
Get my solicitor on the phone. I'm going to sue you for compensation, Jill. 50 grand should do it. Never felt so abused in all my life. I feel naked, Jill.
Oh, dear, we'll put some clothes on and then...
I'll do that.
Then take some calls.
Straight away. Thanks very much.
Okay.
First time ever. That was the first time for everything, eh? Here is, Catford. Trixie.
Hi.
Trixie.
If wolf whistles are going to be stopped, what about tooting the horn?
Yes.
Because I remember my very first toot. Shut up.
Boris Johnson.
I was with my mother. No,
Boris Johnson was saying this just the other day. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was with my mother, and I just got my first bra, and I was pretty well endowed. Trust me. So there I was, and I was going along, and I was wearing my first ever bra.
Yeah.
And we got this toot, and my mother turned round to go, ooh, wave, but it was for me.
So your mother was encouraging it, or she thought it was for her?
Because she thought it was somebody she knew.
Oh, I see. Right.
Being of the old school,
right.
You wave at someone, but it wasn't. It was.
It was for you.
It was a couple of young guys leering at me.
Which is, of course, not what you want when you're with your mum.
Well, actually, it just made me feel, whoa, I'm a woman now.
Right.
Awful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that feeling, Trixie.
Well, you want to be a woman? I can give you some advice. I can help you with that, Nick.
Well, I think that's maybe an area that we don't want to tread into.
No, perhaps not.
Yeah.
It might be the kind of thing you can't get off your shoe easily. But what about the potholes, my dear?
Potholes?
Yes, you could fill the potholes with things you've had in your shoe.
I've got no idea what you're talking about now.
No, you were talking about potholes at the beginning.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on that.
Right.
Where on earth do they come from? I mean, the road the surface is put onto gravel and grit. But, I mean, these are actually large holes.
Yeah.
So, what, in your opinion, causes them?
I've got no idea. I mean, you think that just general wear and tear would cause a little hole, but But
they're actually large, great gouges.
I know,
aren't they?
yeah, they are. It's like a meteor strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a road, and I was always going down into this thing, and I learnt to drive round it, absolutely expertly. And then one day I thought, oh, it's gone. They'd filled it in, but there are far too many of them around.
I think sometimes you just get, you think, complain, why bother, what's the point? But actually complaining sometimes actually produces results. And it'll only take an entire day to get through to your council, so give it a go, Trixie.
So which women have stopped the wolf whistling?
Which women?
Yeah, I mean, obviously women have been complaining.
Well, I'm not sure that they have, actually. I think that it's like I was trying to say earlier on, the PC Express has gone past where we are in our minds. It's exceeded our mindset as far as political correctness goes, and they're just off on their own little trip, regardless of what anybody else thinks.
Yep.
That seems to have been the case, actually, didn't it? I didn't even put it that well then, but you kind of know what I mean, right?
That was the most important thing. The other thing with this
I tried. That was the most important thing. Is that what you said?
And I was in a newsagent's yesterday, and they said, "Oh, thanks a lot, love." And this is a Norma Darling or something. It did just, and to a woman there. I thought, oh my God, I could actually be sued for that. It's crazy.
But that stuff doesn't mean anything. I mean, when I was in Leeds, they call each other hen, I think, which is very bizarre, because I've never been called hen before in my life. No. This is, like, blokes don't call each other hen, but, the woman behind the counter at the newsagents, she called me hen. I thought, hen?
Yes.
Or is that Edinburgh? No, I think that's Edinburgh. Oh, hen, yeah, Edinburgh is hen, and Leeds was something else. It was... Anybody live in Leeds? What are women called blokes in Leeds?
Hey, we could have a list.
Yeah, it was something very strange. Hen is Edinburgh, because there's, okay, hen. That's Edinburgh.
Oh, it's lovely.
Well, I kind of like hen, yeah.
Sort of makes you feel like, makes you feel like homesick. Or
makes me feel hungry. Ooh,
makes you feel hungry?
Yummy. Yeah.
I guess you've got loads of calls coming through, so I'd better get on.
Okay, cheers, Trixie.
Bye.
0845 6060 973. Does anybody live in Leeds who's listening to this right now? This is going to drive me nuts now. They have a very peculiar name for women calling usually younger men. It's hen in Edinburgh, and something very strange in Leeds. I can't remember what it is. Romford, hello, Glenn.
Good evening, Nick.
Glenn.
Going back to this building company and other building companies that are available, of course.
Yeah.
With this thing about wolf whistling, up until this time last year, when their share prices were sort of rising into space somewhere, they never thought about this then, did they? They never thought, I know what we'll do. So now they're going to say to their shareholders, okay, well, the company you put your money into is now worth nothing, your pension plans are in ruins, and our next AGM, which we're going to have in the park because it's about the best place and the only place we can afford, at least we're going to say to you, hey, we're broke, but we care.
AGM.
Why else would they be doing this?
AGM in a park. That's an interesting thought. Why are they doing this now? Of course, the building industry is in a right state. We don't know what. I've got no idea what state Wimpy is in. It's probably doing very well. But times are tough because people can't afford mortgages now. Mortgages are being pulled on an hourly basis. There was something like 15,000 mortgages, products they call them. It's daft, call them products. Mortgages available last month, and there's something like 3,000 available this month. They're disappearing before your very eyes.
Well, if they could sell the land banks that they've all got tucked away for anything at all now, they'd be doing it because they just pack up their tents and go back to making burgers or whatever this building company did beforehand. But they know they're not going to be able to do that. So at least come the next shareholders meeting where they're all being given bricks so they can go scrumping in order to have something to eat at the interval. At least they're going to be able to say, oh, we love everybody and we're looking after you. We may be broke, you may have to work until you're 90 now, but your pensions are in ruins and we can't afford to sack the CEO.
I think you're exaggerating to make a point, but well done, Glenn. Thanks very much. That is an interesting thought, though, actually, because there must be concerned faces all around in the building trade, all these giant organisations. There's very few of them that build most of what we live in the country. You know, they build... I'm not talking about Wimpy particularly, but just the British builders in general. They build those tiny little houselets with microscopic windows, so small that light can't come through, because the government told them that you must insulate your house to the nth degree, and the easiest way of doing that is to make the windows smaller. Do you realise that that's why windows are smaller these days? You look at Edwardian properties, and they've got giant floor-to-ceiling windows, light pouring in. You remember light, don't you?
No.
No, that's because we ain't got none in modern houses. The easiest way to insulate your house is much the same way as the easiest way to secure the structure of a plane. Take the windows out. So that's what they've done. That's why all those houses have tiny, tiny, mean windows. It's because it's much less expensive to make windows smaller than it is to have large windows and double glaze them. Isn't that terrible? So that's the government's... That's another government target that has gone wrong. Is there a single one that has actually gone right? They're thinking, the government thought, well, they didn't think it through at all. They thought, well, we'll make the building industry more green. We'll force them to be more green. We'll insist that they insulate their homes. Sounded like a good idea. They just didn't think it through. And, as is always the case, as I was talking about this yesterday, always the case, given a target to meet, you'll take the easiest route from A to B. And for the building trade, the easiest route is not to double, and as they do in Sweden and Canada and places like that, triple glazed windows, very expensive. Glass, very expensive. You break it, costs a fortune. And on that double glazing process, you have to put argon gas or whatever it is in the middle of it. It's pricey. So they thought, oh, the hell with that. We'll just make the windows smaller. Job done. That's why all those tiny houses with no cupboards haven't got any light in them. And everyone's miserable in the dark in this country. Thanks, Gordon. How on earth did I get onto that? How did I get onto that? Oh, yes, that's right. So the building companies are all... The housing trade in general is freaking out at the moment. So they must be thinking, let's take out any negative. Will remove all possibility of people turning on their heels and walking away. And that's what this wolf whistling thing is, I imagine. A desperate attempt to shore up the balance sheet. But, as I said before, I'm sure they're doing very well. Langley, hello, Bob.
Hi, good evening, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Jolly good. It's referring to your talk about the people in Leeds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually from Leeds, but I live down in London.
Right.
And the term what women use for men is, like in Edinburgh you said it was hen.
Yes.
It's the male version. All right, Cock, how are you doing?
Cock?
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be it. You're right, yeah. Cock. Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit bizarre. And do you feel abused when people say that to you, Bob?
The slightest.
Not in the slightest.
Up there.
Right, okay.
Used to it.
All right, thanks, Cock.
All right, mate.
Cheers,
See you
mate.
later.
Ta-da. 0845 6060 973. It's all, poultry-based. Why is that? Chook, cock, hen. What the hell's going on here? Why chickens?
We do like our chicken in this country.
Well, yeah. Oh, so yummy.
Could go for some now.
But isn't that bizarre? I mean, we don't look anything like chickens. Well, most of us don't. Johnny Rotten looks a bit like a chicken. But apart from that, there's no resemblance. So why do they pick on chickens? That's a direct answer to you. A question to you. Yes?
Do you want me to Google it?
No, we've only got 15 minutes. Here's, Jim?
Hiya, Nick.
Can I ask you to hold just 1 minute?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thanks, Chuck. It's 9:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
If you're heading on to the...
Affirmative.
Jim!
Good evening, me duck.
Duck is different from chickens. Yes,
Yeah.
we're branching out.
I had a girlfriend lived in Leeds, and she used to say me duck.
Me duck.
But you're right about hen in Edinburgh. I'm from Edinburgh. Hen means young girl. So they say, all right, hen?
No, I think it also applies to blokes.
No, you'd never call a bloke a hen.
No, women, all women do.
No, not hen. No.
Really?
Never. No, absolutely not. Well, never in my time there, and I lived there.
Right, well, but so did I.
Yeah, but you were a visitor.
No, I wasn't. I was there. I went to school there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What school?
Heriots. See, now, every time you say Heriots, people go,
It was posh end.
Yeah.
I went to Peffermill in Craig Miller.
Right, well, I don't know anything about that, Jim.
All right, anyway, that's no why I rang. I normally agree with about 96.5% of what you say.
Yes.
But I disagree with you about wolf whistles. I think the men that wolf whistle are normally pathetic losers who, if the girls ever responded, would run a mile. And the ones who aren't the pathetic losers are Neanderthals, cavemen, who use it as just a part of their armory of intimidation against women. And,
well, I'm not sure that the intimidation part is right, because they do it from such a distance that you're right about that if the women responded, they wouldn't know what to do, because they're not expecting a response. It's just a passing comment, if you like. They're not expecting the women to turn around and say, all right, what's your number then? Because that's not really part of the exchange.
Everybody knows that to be the case, so why do it? Because it's just, why should women have to put up with it? I'm not a member of the politically correct breed, but far from it. But I've never done it in my life. Although, I did get a pang of guilt when Trixie mentioned about tooting your horn. I wouldn't have toot my horn, but occasionally, and only when I know it's not going to be taken in the wrong way, do I rev my motorbike engine. Occasionally, when a beautiful young girl is crossing at the lights.
Right.
But I never do it to frighten her, or to shock her, or to to take her by surprise. I always do it as a sort of term of endearment.
Well, Jim, you see, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem in your own eyes. It's the same thing.
I'm beginning to think, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm very much against the wolf whistling, and especially if you're with a girl and some idiot whistles, that's like an insult to you.
But it isn't really, because he's passing positive judgment on your betrothed, or whoever she is, some bird you just met last night.
Every situation can be deciphered in so many ways. That's my problem, and I think your problem is there is no black and white. Everything.
Well, you know what? Yeah, well, you're right. But the interesting thing is, no women that I've asked, either on the air or off, have spoken negatively about it, which surprised me.
But I think most women just regard the blokes who do it as idiots, and they just carry on.
But one way of thinking about it is that, and I was talking about this process last week, I think, it might be considered to be passing along a smile. It's a little interaction. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's a positive, it's like a thumbs up, it's just passing along a smile.
But then again, a smile can be very threatening if it's not done in the correct way.
Right. Gordon Brown, for instance. Yes. I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to be able to judge the situation and judge the person who you're going to confront.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that do it have got no idea. They just barge in. And often they cause offence, they cause fear and anxiety.
It has to be done in the right... like, you wouldn't wolf whistle your magistrate, for instance.
You wouldn't wolf whistle your doctor if you had a female doctor walking down the road and she was going to be giving you an injection.
That's
later
right.
on. You wouldn't wolf whistle her.
No, not just before she asks you to turn your head and cough. That's right.
Correct, yeah.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Right, good night, Nick.
Cheers. No women so far have raised a finger of complaint, which I find surprising. I mean, I mostly found surprising that all of the women columnists who dealt with this issue, and you have to feel sorry for columnists, you know, the poor things, they come in at work and writing, it's a nightmare, and they're faced with a blank page every day. Well, it's not every day, is it? It's every once a week. Or I used to think that way, and then I think, what rubbish. I write a column every day. Start the show with it. I sit there in the car, just outside the congestion zone, and write a page of A4. It's a load of old bloomin' rubbish, but, you know, it's enough words to get you, to fulfil your requirements as a columnist. It's easy. Just pause out. There's no easier job, really. I mean, no columnist writes a column every day, do they? I do. The work I put in, and the thanks I get.
Thank you.
Vauxhall, hello, Steve.
Hello, young Nick.
Steve.
Nick. James O'Brien. 78 years old, a girl. She gets wolf whistles.
James O'Brien, did you say?
Yeah, James O'Brien, on his programme, he had a lady of 78, and she phoned in and said she got wolf whistles. Clive Bull had a 93-year-old last night, phoned in. a woman, she said she gets wolf whistles, and you had a 69, so they ain't doing bad, mate, are they?
Well, I suppose so, yeah. They should grab them while they can get them.
Yeah, grab them up. Right, now, two things I want to ask you.
Go on.
Why are blokes called blokes, and why are girls called birds? That's the first one.
Right.
And the other one is, why is it called wolf whistles? Do wolves whistle?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So how did it come with the term wolf whistles? Have you got any brilliant people out there, Nick, that own your great show?
These are excellent questions, Steve. I will throw it out there. We haven't got much time, but if anybody has any clue...
Perhaps you can carry it on next time you're on.
If I remember. Very unlikely.
I remember, yeah.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Cheers, pal.
Those are good questions. Bloke is probably just an arbitrary name, unless it's short for something. I've got no idea. And there's James springing into action, a flurry of activity, searching the internet. He's not doing a damn thing. He's looking at me like, oh, what, you joking? It's like 7 minutes to go. It's like last day of school. Oh, not going to work now. Bloke, no idea. Birds is, if you think about it, interesting, because the female of the bird genus, did I get that right? Of the bird species, species is the dowdier. The male is the one that is the, puts on all its feathers and has colours and does its little dance and so on. So it's actually the opposite way around to the... In fact, don't bother. Oh, bloke, chiefly British slang, a fellow and a man. There's no... where's the derivation? Bloke, slang term for a man, primarily in the British Isles, Australia, New Zealand. Origin, unknown, may derive from the Celtic plock, large, stubborn person. What are they saying? All right, so that might be what that is. Unlikely. But a bird for a woman is odd, because the women of the male, of the human species, are the more flamboyant and colourful and, the dress up and the makeup and the whole thing. But in birds, the male is the one that's the more colourful and does the dancing and, the showing off and so on. So, if anything, birds should be men.
I see your logic.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But it just doesn't sound right.
Well, of course it doesn't, because you've been calling...
That's not what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm going to start calling men birds now. Just to throw a spanner in the works. I'm going to single-handedly change the language. Isn't that a good idea? No.
Good luck with that.
Yes. Yeah. And what was the other question? Why is it called a wolf whistle? And I have a corollary to that. And I wonder if I used that right. Why does it sound like that? Why do those notes strung together imply a sexual comment? Why does that tune, and it's always that tune, there are no other tunes to a wolf whistle, are they? How does a wolf whistle go? You know how to whistle, don't you? You just put your lips together and blow.
Yeah, but I can't wolf whistle. That's
Go
different.
on. Well, just do as the tune.
I'm not your performing doll.
Do it. Do it while you're dancing.
No. You have to pay me extra for that.
We haven't got it in the budget. Go ahead and whistle.
I can't do it now.
Do it, or I'll kill you.
You threatened that before.
Oh, yeah.
I think it may be
I
a
know.
threat.
Yeah, it is, yeah. You can only do it once.
Yeah, and then you see I'm onto you. No, I can't. I'm just not going to try.
Well, we know how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, why that tune? Why particularly that tune? No other tune will do. No other tune that I know of implies some sort of sexual comment, does it? Why those notes? How bizarre. And why wolf whistling? Where did that come from? I'm leaving you with questions, not answers.
Questions, questions, questions.
Yeah. Questions, answers, questions. Sounds like an old track by Focus, which is a very...
Rock and roll!
Hey, my computer's got the hiccups. Yeah. Hey, what have we talked about tonight, then, eh?
Women who don't speak are more intelligent than those with a Brummie accent. Muffin tops. banning airbrushed photos from magazines,
Yes.
eating chicken bones in the cinema.
Oh, yeah.
The French being able to be nonchalantly in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Trousers with nowhere to put your bottom. Respecting intelligence. Drinking water is bad for you. Roads that wait 65 years to be resurfaced.
That's right.
Roadworks. We literally talked bollards.
Yeah.
Gordon Brown's face needs ironing. The American embassy is on
I
the
didn't
move.
say that, did
you
I?
You did say that.
Really?
Yes. Well, I'll rewind the tape and check. The American embassy is moving. Petrol and water cost the same.
Right.
Biofuels.
Mm-hmm.
The government bins research that doesn't tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Wolf whistling. Threatening smile.
No, out of time again. Jim Davis is next on LBC.